I feel like with breastfeeding, there's so many rumors out there that it's hard to know what is really going to happen in that first week after you have your baby. So today we're going to take some time and talk through all the things that you can expect in your first week of breastfeeding. We're going to cover what that first feed will be like. We're going to cover engorgement and nipple pain and weight loss and output and where you should be at about a week postpartum. So let's start with your first feed. When should it happen? Ideally, your first feed will happen within the first 2 hours of having your baby. In an ideal situation where neither mom or baby needs medical care, you've had your baby skin to skin with you for most or all of that time. In that first 2-hour window, we want to have a good feed with a secure latch. So if you reference my other video about how to make sure you're set up to get a deep latch, watch that and then come back and finish this video. But essentially, we've had our first feed. That feed should be comfortable. It shouldn't be rushed, and it should mean that your baby is starting to relax and be settled. And then everybody's going to have a power nap, and we're going to have a feed 3 to 4 hours after that. Yes, in the first 7 days of life, you should wake your baby. Please wake your baby. If your baby is sleeping at the 3-hour mark and we know they're below birth weight or not back up to birth weight, wake them up. Again, I have other videos about this as well, so have a look in my shorts for that one. But waking your baby ensures that they are able to fill their belly at regular intervals and get going on that momentum curve to waking. So we're waking our baby to eat in that first day of life at those 3-hour intervals. And on this first day, we want to see 2 things in your breastfeeding journey to ensure the baby's getting enough. We want 1 pee and 1 poo. This is called the 1-in-1 rule. So in this first day, what you can expect from your breasts is ideally you are not having any discomfort. It would be normal if you have very mild discomfort of the nipple or the areola. There should be no visible damage, and you should be able to apply something like lanolin or a natural nipple balm that will help to soothe kind of the chafing from the wetness. That is the only discomfort I want you to have. If you're having more discomfort than that, I want you to go watch those videos about achieving a deep latch. In day 2, what you may start to notice in your breasts is that they're starting to feel a little heavier. You may be able to hand express more colostrum, meaning that first milk. You may be able to feel like there's more weight or fullness to your breasts. And baby is still feeding at those 3-hour intervals. On this day, I want you to see, are you ready? 2 pees and 2 poos. At this point, those poops will still be dark and tarry, called meconium, and that is normal. They will not transition yet. Now, we're waking baby every 3 hours. Breasts are heavier. We should not have any discomfort or pain. Minimal chapping. Again, treat with lanolin or natural nipple butter. Day 3. This is when everything changes. You've probably heard about day 3. And often day 3 starts with night 2. So as day 2 turns into day 3, often this little munchkin is going to wake up and they want to feed. So again, this is why I'm telling you, breastfeeding shouldn't be uncomfortable, because this baby is going to be on you a ton. And I always say to parents, do not tolerate a bad latch on night 2. This is often the night that if parents do tolerate a bad latch, that night 2 can create nipple damage that will last for at least a week, if not longer. So please, 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 I know you're tired on night 2, but be prepared with the right techniques to get deep latching and have comfortable latching as best you can on night 2, so that when the morning of day 3 arrives, your nipples are not destroyed. It is possible, and it is not normal for them to be destroyed. So day 3, for many mamas, but not all, they will notice that the milk is coming in this day. The milk, as it starts to come in, can be a really rapid shift. And what that shift looks like is what we call engorgement. Engorgement is both the process where those individual milk ducts are stretching and filling with milk, but it also is the same time when the breast tissue is starting to get edematous or swollen, meaning that all the little pieces of tissue around the milk ducts are inflamed because of that pressure that suddenly changed inside the milk ducts. And what's happening is all of a sudden your body is transitioning from colostrum to full milk. And what happens is your breast actually draws water in from your own bloodstream. Yes, milk is made from mom's blood, and the water in the breast creates that transition from colostrum to full milk, and also the cellular composition in the milk ducts actually changes, and that allows the composition of your milk to change. So your breasts are full, heavy, and often you may notice some milk coming out. Not everybody leaks. It's normal not to leak. What you can do on this day, I want you to think about treating this like a sprain. We use cold, we use ice, we use gentle compression, and we use lymphatic massage to sweep away some of that engorgement. And the next best thing, feed a baby. Feed, 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 feed. Unless there's a medical indication to do so, or you're an exclusively pumping mama, I do not recommend pumping here, because what it can do is set us up into a spiral of making too much milk. If we need to, we can soften the breast with what we call reverse pressure softening, where we take the tips of our fingers and we gently press them in for 15 to 20 seconds. We rotate through, we press again. And ideally what this is doing is pushing some of the edema out of the breast so that we can latch baby. Because for some moms with engorgement, there's so much inflammation that the breast tissue is actually almost not squishy. It's rock hard. People will describe having bowling balls for breasts. So now ideally we get a bit of squish back so we can latch baby. So again, cold, ibuprofen. Ideally we're not pumping and we're not using too much cabbage. Cabbage has some pheromones that gives feedback to the milk, which for some mamas can depress their milk supply. So don't do it. So we're feeding our baby. We're engorged. We're feeding every 3 hours. We're waking this munchkin. Now, how many pees and poos do you think they're having today? We were 1 and 1 on day 1, 2 and 2 on day 2. You've got it. 3 and 3 on day 3. 3 pees, 3 poos. And today's the day that I want you to start to see some changes in their poops. Colostrum is a laxative. It helps them clear out all that meconium. And now that meconium's gone, I want to start to see transitional poops. We went from black and tarry. Now we're in this brownish zone, and we can be here until about day 5. But ideally it's day 3 and 4, and then we've made that transition. So today is the day I want you to start seeing those transitional poops. Day 4. Day 4 is the beginning of your new normal. Day 3 is a crazy day. Often it's a day filled with hormonal shifts, and moms are often uncomfortable in ways that they haven't been before. But day 4 is a new day, and we're starting the rest of our lives. So day 4, often baby's weight is the lowest it's gonna be. And that is completely normal. Day 3, we often see lowest weight as well. And what's happened is the milk is starting to transition, but it's not fully in yet. Baby's not necessarily drinking those full volumes. So day 3 and day 4, depending on when your baby is weighed, are going to be their lowest weights. As long as they haven't lost more than 8 to 10%, 10% being the upper range of normal, they are doing great. Weight loss is a normal thing, as long as it's within normal limits. So now we've weighed our baby, we know what they weigh, and we want them to start gaining from here. The joke I often say to people is, this is the smallest your baby is ever gonna be. And then they get going. So in order to help promote that weight gain on day 4, we gotta feed that baby. So again, wake that baby at those 3-hour intervals. If they wake up sooner, absolutely, go ahead and feed them. Some babies will feed 8 times a day. Some babies will feed 12 times a day. That range is normal. And it's also really common that babies will cluster feed in the evenings. So those evening feeds help to get them fuel for the night. And eventually, when they're back to birth weight, we can let them have that longer stretch overnight. Day 4, your breast should start to feel a little softer. Normal to still be engorged at this point. Engorgement can last for 24 to 48 hours. Keep going with your Tylenol, your ibuprofen, more so ibuprofen than Tylenol, your ice, and your gentle compression. Now, feeding every 3 hours. If you're feeling like you have a full duct in your armpit, that's called the tail of Spence. It's the type of structure in the breast anatomy. You can change up and see if you can get those ducts to drain by feeding your baby. No vigorous massage. If they don't connect to the breast, which many of them don't, leave them alone. Apply cold, apply ice, and let that milk kind of resolve and that swelling will come down. You should start to feel by the end of day 4 that your breasts are a little less swollen, a little less full, and that the milk is flowing. On day 5, babies should start to gain weight by now. This is the turnaround day. I want to see them coming back to where they were before they hit that low. Not back up to birth weight yet. It's very normal to be back up to birth weight. Your breasts should start to feel more comfortably. Latching should be comfortable, and babies should start to be waking themselves. This is often as babies start to get a bit of steam, they're getting some energy to start to wake themselves. This is a great sign. You may notice that baby, as you would start to be like, okay, it's time for our 4 o'clock feed, baby's starting to stir. That's awesome. That's a very reassuring sign that baby is gaining weight. The other thing as you're waiting for your next weight check is to check diapers. Once the full milk is in, so here we are at day 5, absolutely you should be seeing this at day 5 without exceptions. 6 heavy wet pees per day. 6 at minimum. If baby's wearing the diaper that has the blue line, many popular brands do, you will see that line turn blue with pee. Newborn stools, newborn poops are not enough to change that line. So if you see the line, ideally it's fully saturated, that is a good pee. Poops, we should be making the rest of that transitional poop into yellow poops by now. Often mustard, Dijon, pumpkin are all normal shades for newborn poop who are breastfed. And that transition should be heading towards its completion. So we've started at black, brown, now we're almost at yellow. That's a really reassuring sign that your baby's getting enough and that breastfeeding is off to a great start. Now, day 6, more of what we saw yesterday. Your breast should be fully soft by now. You should not be engorged. If you're still feeling engorged, likely your baby is either not transferring milk off of you or you're having another issue with your ducts. But the number one reason is that baby is not drinking the milk that's come in. Reach out to your care providers today if you are still feeling engorged. This is a concerning sign. Now, where breasts are soft, they're comfortable. We feel like baby's softening the breast between our feeds. By the time baby's done drinking on this side, I can tell that baby's drank off this side. It feels softer. It's often how moms know which side they fed on last. Ideally, you're still offering both sides because offering dinner and dessert, which is my favorite program, allows baby to have the opportunity to stimulate both breasts, but also drink a lot of that easy milk because the milk, when the breast is very full, is the easiest to drink. So I'm going dinner and dessert, dinner and dessert, and alternating feed to feed. Now we've arrived at day 7. Day 7 is the day where if everything's going right, many babies will be back up to birth weight. Not all, especially first-time babies, but many babies should be back up to birth weight. And what that is the fruits of all this hard work of offering the breast every 3 hours or more frequent if baby's asking it, of having a comfortable latch because a comfortable latch means good milk transfer, and having a baby who now can regulate their own hunger and wake cycles. So if we've made it to day 7 and baby's back up to birth weight, way to go. If baby's not quite there, that's normal. We want babies to be there by 2 weeks. Babies who are not there by 2 weeks, that's a sign that we need to have baby further investigated to make sure that feeding's on track, that we're not missing something in our feeding plan, or baby needs a medical evaluation. If baby's back to birth weight on day 7, way to go. You've crushed it. Once we hit that birth weight milestone, we get to take a little break. What that means is we can stop waking baby at the 3-hour cycles. Baby may then present you with a 4-hour stretch in the afternoon. They may present you with a 2-hour interval feeds, let's say at 8, 10, and midnight, or 6, 8, and 10. And then they may even give you a 4-hour sleep stretch overnight. And that is okay at this point. I feel like day 7 or back to birth weight, whenever it comes, is a secret hidden milestone that people don't talk about where you no longer have to wake your baby to feed. At this point, your breast should be comfortable and soft. I still don't recommend pumping in this window unless there's an indication for weight gain or an indication that you're wanting to do more pumping because you're transitioning to exclusively pumping. But if you're wanting to pump to just build a stash, don't do it yet. Hold off. Check out my other shorts about when you should start pumping. And you've made it through the first week breastfeeding. From here, you really are in that kind of final phase of feeding. Around 4 weeks, there's another shift hormonally where you will feel like your supply is truly regulated. But between day 7 and 4 weeks old, things are really pretty much the same. If you find this information helpful, please hit that subscribe button. That's the best way that you can help me reach moms just like you with evidence-based, expert-backed information and help me grow this channel. If you enjoyed this video, I suggest checking out this one next. It has great information that I think you'll appreciate too.